Hello friends, thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be sort of like my Valentine's look. As you can see, we've got a little berry vibe happening here on the eyes. And my three key color elements of this look are from the Natasha Denona Mini Love collection. So we're going to be using that $25 mini eye palette, the face palette, which is just, you know, dazzling. And we also have a lip color as well. Now I do have some dupes to mention throughout this video, a couple of alternatives that you might want to consider, but I'll show you how I got the look, what I really like about this collection, what I think is skippable, and yeah, let's get started. Alrighty friends, so we're starting off the actual getting ready tutorial part of this thing with quite a few steps already done on the face. I'll let you know what I put on. I really enjoy this Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation, and I felt like I needed a slightly deeper shade than the shade 10 Cool Cashmere that I started with, so I ordered 18 Cool Rose, and it does seem pretty good for me. So I got that all blended in with a beauty blender this time, and I thought that worked really well, although it can do fine with a brush. Also decided to retry the Catrice Liquid Camouflage just because I'm such a Catrice believer these days, and I had kind of passed this one off earlier, but I am finding I enjoy it. I have the shade Natural Rose. I need to play with it a little bit more. Set everything on the skin with my Hourglass Loose Powder, and then I put on some bronzer all over. This is the Laura Geller Baked Bronze and Brighten. I just really love that tone. It's a really, really nice tone of bronzer for me. And then I went ahead and did my brows. I used the e.l.f. Lock On Brow and Liner in the shade Espresso, and I also got some of that Milani eyeshadow primer on there for myself. And now we're gonna go to this guy here. Look at the gorgeousness of the packaging. I mean, is there anything more fun and satisfying? Like, you're gonna get this and you're gonna wanna like sit this as a little accessory on your desk or something. I don't know. It's the Love Cheek Duo Cream Blush and Highlighter. So it says it's a blush, a cream blush from the Diamond and Blush palette in the shade Daria, and that's D-A-R-Y-A, not the show that used to be on MTV that I loved. You remember Daria? La 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 la. And then a new shade of her iconic Glow Impact Powder, a warm pinkish duochrome that shifts from pink to champagne. And the blush color is described as a coral shade here. I do like the texture of the blush. It seems kind of like a cream to powder type deal if you feel it between your fingers, and you could apply it with your fingertips if you want to. We do have a mirror in here as well, but I'm going to go into it with my little Sephora Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush. There is a full size of this kind of brush available if you're interested in that, but I'm just going to be dabbing this on the cheeks, and I think it is a really fresh color. It surprised me a little bit that they went so like warm and corally with that shade. If we're sort of centering around this kind of look for the eyeshadows. I don't know, I was just thinking maybe the blush would be a little bit cooler or something, maybe a little mauve or something like that, but it is a really fresh shade, and like I said, it blends easily. And one thing I will point out as we go here, I have a couple of little dupe situations. This NYX Bare With Me, I'm not sure how readily available this even is, so I'm sorry if it's a struggle to find, but the shade Creative Cleanse, in terms of what I had in my collection, this is a pretty similar corally shade. If we're looking at swatches here, this is the NYX and this is the Natasha Denona, and they're really similar. Thing is, the textures are very different. This has more moisture in it, and it kind of, I don't know, clings onto the skin a little bit more, whereas the Natasha Denona has a little bit more of that super blendable cream to powder idea. But really, I'm just kind of pointing out that this is not a super uncommon shade here, you know, a coral cream blush. If that's what appeals to you out of this compact and you don't want to spend 42 bucks, it's not your only hope for a product like this. Then I'm going to pop on the highlight, and this is where I kind of feel like, okay, I swatch it on my finger, you can totally see the color, you can see that shift between kind of pinky and champagne-y golden, but sometimes, I don't know, the pickup from the brush is a little different. Are we seeing some there? Very, very lightly, it seems. Like there's definitely some glow on that cheek that wasn't there before, but it's just, you kind of got to build with it a little bit. They do have a cute little heart pattern here, and the formula, oops, is so firm that you're not going to be interfering with that look anytime soon. It's just so hard, I guess, for lack of a better description. I feel like I've picked up some glow on the skin, but it kind of translates on very, very sheer. I wouldn't say I'm hating it, but I'm being honest with you, it's just not my favorite highlighter ever. If that were a Becca type formula in there, I think I'd really, really enjoy this. But that, can't pick that apart one bit. Again, with the Catrice stuff, I'm gonna use this HD Active Performance Freezing Spray. I'm seeing if I got maybe a alternative here to an Urban Decay all-nighter type thing. It certainly feels that way when it first goes on. You know, it doesn't make me really dewy, but I think it has an impact on the wear throughout the day. Next up, we're gonna move to eyes, and we have this Mini Love palette, and I do really like this. And somebody's gonna say, another plummy look, can you do something other than plum? Well, that's what this palette is, okay? This is what I'm reviewing, the Rosy Plum thing, okay? This is the Big Love palette, and I thought I would crack it open so you could see. This is $25, and they claim that it's a range of 5 new ultra pigmented pink and purple toned eyeshadows. And yeah, looking at it side by side with this palette, I can tell you, like, looking up close, they're different shades. You know, there may be a deep plum in this palette, but it's not the same as this. This has this really cool mauve type color in here, like dusty lilac mauvey mix. That's not in here. So everything is its own new color, and it would actually pair nicely in with this palette, I think. But I thought I'd just take you through a little look using this one. I love starting here with this shade because you'll really be able to see it. It's matte. Like I said, it is kind of mauvey, kind of dusty lilac. It's beautiful though. I mean, it looks pretty sheer, but I find I've liked the look even better when I really, you know, let some product go in there. I feel like I'm kind of applying a lot. It's just got a really lovely tone, and I think that if you really like the plummy eye looks, I mean, I'm enjoying this palette. I really like it. But plum is the main emphasis because this is your darkest shade here, and it really anchors this palette, and there's just a richness to that shade, and as you see it blend into the look that I'm doing, you'll understand, like, there's a very prominent plumminess when you bring in your darkest color. But see how we're experiencing pink out of this? We're getting kind of a mauvey thing, we're getting kind of a lilac thing. I just love that color. And in this palette, we do have this kind of champagne-y color here, which, wait a minute, I never thought about maybe using that as a highlight, but the texture of that is absolutely gorgeous. Hey now, hold up. That's the kind of texture I would have wanted in the duo. Oh, that's pretty. You know, I can see it going on. It really comes off on the brush. Just a heads up, you got a pretty built-in highlight in this one. But also we can take that color and we can just pop it up on the brow bone. That would be really pretty on the inner corner too, don't you think? And another thing I like doing the other day, we have this, I guess here's where the pinky coral kind of comes in. This shade on the end, such a beautiful texture and sheen on that one. And it is kind of like a coral. And I think that's really pretty up on the edge. Just sort of coming out from that dusty, murky, mauvey color. Now we're going to be going big with this beautiful matte plum. I'm going to be patting it on the outside. It's so rich and dark, but yet you can see that purple. You can really see it playing nicely with the other shades that have been applied here. Flip that brush around, let it really get placed right up there in the crease area. I want to work it out a little bit here too. Okay, now I think I'm going to take my E27 brush, which is a little bit, yeah, E27, a little bit smaller than my E25, and I feel like it does great just going after that crease, the deepest part there, and helping that plummy color just blend, blend, blend. So rich. I did another look with this palette actually in the morning routine video. I didn't go through like tutorial style, but I just kind of popped up and showed it. And thank you for the sweet feedback on that. If you want to see another take on this palette, you can see how it looked there. Do I have any fallout? I maybe have just the teeniest bit. But yeah, there's not even anything over there. Again, if you want to take your blending up a notch, get a little bit smaller brush than maybe what you first go in and just start applying crease stuff with. this is so good for that. While I'm still working in that dark shade, I'm going to take my Profusion Small Pointed ES6 because I want kind of a smokiness on the lower lash line, starting with the dark plum. And remember, where you first put your brush is where the most shadow's going to set down. So we want to make sure that that's at the outside, and then it can just kind of taper off toward the inside. What do we think about that? I'm loving that drama. And I'm kind of wondering, what do I want to do with the inner part? I feel like I went lighter the other day. I actually used the champagne-y color on there, but you might want to see what this texture is all about right here. Gosh, my brush is so dark with that plum that I think I'm just going to use my finger with this, which is probably going to be the best method. It's got this duochrome, looking rosy, looking a little bit coppery, a little golden. And we're just going to be patting this one right up in here. It's going to hit kind of like center of the eye and inward. And it seems like as you build it up, you see a little bit more of the pink side, and the more sheer you let it be, you see a little more of the gold. How do we feel about that? That is fun. That is a really pretty shade. The thing that might be a little challenging about it is just getting it consistently built to the same level on each eye, because when you alter the amount of this color you're putting on, you alter like the way it's catching the light, the intensity of the color shifting nature of it, but I think that'll work. But that's the only one that has that kind of a little more, if you want to call it, chunky texture. Obviously it can be smoothed on beautifully, but you know, there's a little more flake in that, and then these two shimmers over here are very, very smooth. Don't these two kind of mimic the colors in the blush palette? Hey, this could be blush. Why am I just so slow to figure that one out? I'm always looking for multitasking and things. So I'm just taking the champagne and going around my inner corner for a little brightness. In case you were wondering, just tapping in a little bit of that with my blush brush. That was made to be a blushy color there. I mean, it's a perfect tone. Get this and you have blush and highlight. But I've got to think you are so paying for packaging here, because this is $25. You're getting 5 shades that are pigmented as all get out, and you're probably not going to use them up anytime soon. This one, $42. You're getting 2 shades. You're getting a greater quantity of those shades, but you're also getting that dazzling compact there. Just got to think about where your priorities are, all right? I'm going to add a little bit of black liquid liner and some mascara and some lashes too to this look, and then we'll do the lips. Okay, my friends, here is that eye. We've got that glitz on the lid. It's all rooted in the plumminess going all the way around. I had used this Marc Jacobs, my mini mascara here. That's the Blacker at Lashed. I used my Wet n Wild eyeliner, the liquid pen, breakup proof. And then on my inner rim, I don't usually go dark there. So if I'm looking extra different, that's what I threw in. It's the Color Stay eyeliner in, this is the shade Black Violet. So it's just a real deep plum, and I have that in my lower inner rim, and my Thrive liquid lash extensions. I went a little more dramatic with the lower lash just because the upper lash is just so big as is. But I'm really pleased with the eye look. This dark plum could also function as an eyeliner, and like we kind of came to the realization today, blush, highlight too. Now there is a lip color here as well, and it is the I Need a Nude lipstick in the shade Amorosa, and it is a new shade in the line. So this is going to be $25, and when I was opening up the little PR package that contained this, I saw this shade and I just thought, you know, how does that work with that eye palette and that cheek? But it really is a super pretty shade. The formula is very nice as well. It's a cream formula lipstick, nice like lightly sweet scent. They call this a natural mauve shade, and I'm not sure I think of it as natural mauve. Like I'd picture a little more like purple or coolness being in this color. But whatever the case, it's a pretty nude. And it shows up very full color, has a really luxurious texture on the lips, and it's probably one of the least shiny cream formula lipsticks that I have. Most creamy lipsticks just tend to veer a little bit more toward that shiny place. And to me, it's interesting how matte, actually, to the eye, this color seems, but it is most definitely a nice creamy lipstick. Now, if you're thinking, okay, I'm not sure I want to spend 25 bucks on the one lipstick, I did find something in my collection that seems really similar, and it's the L'Oreal Color Riche lipstick in All Out Pout. And I've got them swatched here, and I do feel like the L'Oreal might be a smidge cooler, but they are very, very similar, and really similar in the finish as well, because this is kind of another example of a creamy lipstick that just doesn't come off with a lot of shine. There's like a lighter swatch of the two where I only gave like one stroke of it. So there's the L'Oreal and there's the Natasha Denona. So just a thought if you're wanting that look but not wanting to spend that whole price. So my friends, that about wraps it up with the new Natasha Denona little love collection here. Feeling kind of sultry and Valentine's-y with the look today. I would say my favorite part, as you probably gathered, is the eye palette. I really do enjoy it. If you love the plummy tones, if you like these splashes of pink, I think this is a really fun palette. I think it can multitask for you, which is exciting, and at $25, I mean, I really think it's the best buy of the whole collection, actually, as well. Keep in mind with the cream blush and the highlight, you know, I wasn't over the moon with the highlight. I think the blush is pretty, but it's not incredibly unique. If you want to achieve this same look, be on the lookout for a corally pink blush and any kind of highlight that has this champagne-y kind of golden shift to it. Lipstick, impressive formula here, especially if you kind of like a not super shiny look, but all the comfort of a cream lipstick. But again, that shade is not incredibly rare, so I found it in one lipstick here, but if I did even more digging in my collection, I might find that a few times over. But it was just interesting how I was skeptical of how this shade would work into this color scheme, but yet it does seem to work. And there's just enough depth in this nude for me to really enjoy that color on my skin tone. So anyway, thank you guys so much for your time today. I hope this answers some questions you may have had about this collection, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.